All right, I'm Francesca Lana, and you're watching Pop Fusion, the talk show. All right, so welcome back. I'm so excited. We have very special guest, Courtney Starks, in the building with us. How are you?
Yo, I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm just happy to be safe, still in quarantine. Blessed to be speaking with you.
Thank you. I'm honored. Honored that you would have me.
Absolutely. So we're so excited to speak with you today. You have a dynamic background. I mean, from being in the medical field to now into broadcasting. First and foremost, tell us how you got in the medical field.
I literally, and I share this story now a lot. I was sick a lot growing up, and I used to fight it so bad. I was such a rebellious little kid, just trying to like do whatever I wanted to be normal, But I had a lot of health issues. So after after high school, I was like, listen, I can't keep fighting this. If you can't beat them, join them, So I went into like the administrative clerical field, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things that I was so negligent towards in regard to my health. I battled with a lot of heart issues, things that were passed down, from my parents, and just kind of learning more about that to be more aware. And as I got older, I realized, okay, well, I can do this. If this is happening to me, I can only imagine what's happening to so many other young people and what they're suffering with. So it gave me some insight,
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. I'm glad that you were taking the initiatives and the steps to better your own health, and then now using that to help others. That's amazing. I mean, especially within our community, people of color. You mentioned heart issues. It's like we're always battling heart issues or cholesterol, high blood pressure, those types of things.
Yeah, and it's like because we're not so aware, depending on the community that you live in, you don't know what's wrong with you, and a lot of times a Robitussin doesn't fix it. I'm just here to tell you that right now. It doesn't do the trick. So like being mindful of what's going on with your body, going to see a doctor, or finding out resources to find medical staff, or getting a primary care doctor. Starting that young will really help along the way.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for that advice. Considering with everything going on right now with COVID, like what do you say now more than ever do we need to be taking care of ourselves and our immune systems?
I always say, especially people of color, we lack a lot of vitamin D right now, because we're not outside as much, and we normally have it, and a lot of people don't realize that, but we're lacking that right now, and that is something that we want to definitely hone in on. Vitamin C, all the immune boosters as possible, eating right, eating clean, and that's something that as a big person I struggled with my entire life. Kool-Aid, fried chicken, and collard greens was the way to go growing up. You know what I mean? So to realize that, no, Courtney, that is not good for you. Eating cake at midnight is not good for you. You know what I mean? And realizing that as we get older, the more you take care of your body, the more it will take care of you. Learning the importance of that will get you a long way, especially now.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing advice. And what you said was so dynamic before earlier, the fact that you were saying that we're kind of just immune to feeling a certain way. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're overweight or having heart issues, that's just your normal. You probably don't know what it feels like to feel good. And that's so dangerous.
Yeah, it can be, because it, and I believe, I've had a show about this, like the breaking the generational curse. And a lot of times when people hear that, they think, oh, like money. No, it has to do with your health, your spiritual being, your mental being. You know what I mean? Like those toxic things that we find normal, that when you are outside of that box, it feels like, wait, what is this? what is this life outside of what I've grown up to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to see that within ourselves before it consumes us.
Yeah, so beautiful. Maybe everyone's watching this with some gems from this because we're already speaking to my heart, like seriously. So with that, with your medical journey and inspiring people to be healthy and being healthier yourself, how did that translate to media? Like, how did we come about with Courtney's Corner? That's honestly so amazing.
So the two doesn't correlate. And I always say this, like,
okay.
this medical field of mine, it never correlated. Like, this kind of working in the medical field and wanting to aspire to do that was something that I wanted to do to take over the battle. You know what I mean? I knew at some point in my life, I had to hold myself accountable to those wrongdoings. Like I was just explaining, like that wake up call, in order to break the generational curse, you have to be the generational breaker. You know what I mean? Somebody in the family line has to break free. And I felt like I needed to be one. I had to be one. You know what I mean? I want kids, and I want my kids to be able to have kids and not have to feel like we're all battling this same thing, you know, especially having my parents growing up, and they were like, you know, I'll be transparent. They were into drugs and into unhealthy lifestyles. So like I got the brunt of what, you know, they went through and what they did. So it was hard. But Courtney's Corner happened. I got sick again going into college, and one of the things that I realized after college was that we were in a space where no one was really kind of gearing towards us anymore, right? You know, you have all these programs going up, all these youth programs, and then once you get out of high school, once you get out of college, it's like, here you go, have fun, and you're like, wait, am I a real person now? Wait, change, broken, and I'm like, okay, we have to, somewhere along the line, we have to be willing to find out what we need, because we're still broken, we're still growing, we're still lost on this journey, and now we're like just let out the cell, and you're just like, okay, well, where's my mom? Where's my dad? Where's my teachers? Where are these people who are controlling every moment of my life at now? And what do I do now? Like, I don't know whether to walk, run, turn right, turn left. And I figured, why not? So we literally just started with a conversation on the necessities of a millennial, you know?
Nice. So yeah. What are they? What are those necessities?
So for me, I believe you're not grown once you graduate high school or college. I think for me, that's the start, right? So we need the nurturing then more than ever. You know, when you're young and you're in high school and you're in elementary school, of course, you know you're the child. You know that you're going to take the guidance of your parents or those or your guardians or whatever. But when you are in college or you graduate college, you are going through this life change where you're at the cusp of this adulthood, but you still have a child mentality because your parents raised you, they did all these things for you, but now you have what we call free will, true free will to go and do anything. And in your 20s, that's where you make the most mistakes. So you need that nurturing, right? You need the mentorship. So we need these programs that are geared towards these people right after college, not just go get a job, make some money so you can retire. That's a curse for me. You know what I mean? You need people who are going to stick with you, give you the hard truths, tell you what you need to hear the right way, and continue on this path of success. You need that. And you need a circle of people around you who are not going to be your cheerleaders, but are going to push you to be better than you were yesterday. So you need these things, and you need to be able to have people who are not wanting you to always be the strong person. You need to have a mix and a culture so you can have people that you can laugh, joke, cry, scream, and yell with. So that way you can grow to be willing to pour that back into other people.
Oh, that's so true. It's like when you're around people who just agree with whatever you're doing. I call them like yes men. You're so right. Like we do need cheerleaders, but we don't need people who are going to be yes men. We need people who are really going to be honest with us and really just tell us the truth about like what we're doing wrong or right. But you're so right.
Mm-hmm. And it's the uplifting. Like I agree. You know, cheerleaders are necessary sometimes, especially when you're feeling like I can't do this. Right? Yes, you need those people, but then you also need people who are going to say, So what we're not going to do is this. You know what I mean? Or I've been through this, or I've gone through this. This is how I suggest you do it, right? Because we still have that free will. So a lot of us find comfort in doing it the wrong way, so we can tell our story when we finally journey back. But I challenge people to listen, like, you know, as someone who's journeyed off the other way and was like, listen, I'm grown, I can do what I want. I'm here as a testament to tell you, please follow suit, because it is not hard. It is not easy. I mean, getting back to this side of things, you know?
So true. I mean, even when you were talking about just graduating college in your 20s, that's when you're finally free, quote unquote. The first thing you do is like all these companies are offering you credit cards. And when you're in school, do they teach you about credit? Like
nowhere.
Yeah, like the ratio, the debt to income, all that. Like we don't know any of that. So it's like the first thing you're like, heck yeah, I want a credit card. Heck yeah, I want school loans. Like we about to get this, you know?
Right.
So the next thing you know, credit was like a beautiful 7, whatever, and now it's like in the 6s, the 5s, the 4s. So you know, it's like being responsible and just learning how to even get out of that situation. I mean, I personally was that person, and it took me a long time to really learn how to be responsible with credit.
I think I went through that same phase, and once again, you think you've grown, right? So you get this credit card, you don't even understand it. All you can tell yourself is that it's money that you're going to get, right? But no one ever tells you, you got to pay that back. And you got to pay that back with interest. You know what I mean? And if you don't pay it back, you're going to be stuck in debt. You know what? No one tells you the harsh realities. And I know for myself, right out of high school, I got my own place, and I was doing all these big things and making all these major moves. And I took out my first credit card, and I went through that one. And I said, well, I'll get another one. And I went through that one, and I'm buying all my clothes and all these, and I'm like balling out of control. I got 2 phones and all, and then it's like, it's time, right? And you get this notice like, hey, so your first bill is due. And I'm just like, for what? Like, what are you giving me a bill for? Like, what are you talking about? And then you read, and you're like, oh man. So I didn't know about that. You know what I mean? And then you end up in debt that you can't get out of, you know?
Yeah. And it's just like, especially out of college, like, you know, you don't have a job immediately. The jobs that you get pay less than the amount of loan that you borrowed. So it's a crazy situation. So I'm glad that, you know, you're having these conversations. And with these interviews that you're having, who have been some of your favorite guests to date? That's a hard question because people ask me that all the time, and I'm like,
it's so funny you do this, because I ask this question a lot, never realizing that I would be on the other side to answer. So I would say I have 2. If I can choose 2, my first one would definitely be Coco Brown. Coco Brown, she had so many gems, like so many real truths about the industry. You know, for people like us ourselves who are trying to, like, you know, gravitate and grow and eventually get to these points in our lives, you know, these hard truths about how people can use you and abuse you for their needs. And then when they're done with you, just kind of throw you away. So having the right people around you, though, that was a really good conversation to kind of take in, you know, like I like to talk, but that whole day, that whole episode, I literally just sat back and let her teach me. You know what I mean? Because I needed to
absorb everything.
I loved it. And I would say my second one, which I didn't think much about it until right now. Michael Collier was amazing, like amazing. And I didn't think that in the beginning. And I'm like, okay, until I sat back and rewatched the episode, because I hate rewatching them sometimes. I don't like to see myself back, but it was such a gem dropper. Like, just, you know, what you have to go through, you know what I mean? People automatically, just because they see you on the screen or because they see how popping your social media may be, they don't realize that there's a story behind what happens when the cameras and the lights and the filters go off. You know what I mean? And the life that we have to live. So
yeah, I love that. Well, I'm glad that you're able to speak with guests who actually resonate with your life and who can actually drop those gems. I mean, sometimes, you know, even hosting podcasts and TV shows and talk shows, you know, everyone wants the exposure, but oftentimes we miss like the meat and the potatoes of the conversation. So I'm glad that you're able to grab that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things where now that I'm getting older, that I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm learning to listen and
Yeah.
not just take not just give everything out, but have something to take in for myself, so that way I can grow.
Yeah, definitely. And so you also were the recipient of a humanitarian award, excuse me, a humanitarian award, correct?
Yes.
I'm having like a tongue twister. A humanitarian award. So could you talk about the award and what you did to win it?
I till right now don't know. I'm just being me. If that can answer the question,
I believe that.
Just being myself. One of the things that I believe my charge in life, as I got older and realized that we're so much bigger than ourselves when we think about the things that are going on in this community in our lives. That our charge is to inspire others and to help others cross and to give others that sense of inspiration to live out their dreams. You know what I mean? And not realizing that in doing what I was doing, I was giving people hope to do what they want to do and to see where I've started to where I am right now. And I wanted to do my part instead of just being on the screen and talking, to go out to these communities and live what I was preaching about, live what I'm talking about. And we started, Courtneys Corner started a community initiative. We were going out to these communities and we were actually putting into action all the conversation that we were talking about. So we talked about financial literacy. So we had workshops. We were teaching people about, the importance of money and how to keep it in your pocket. You know what I mean? We spoke about that. We spoke to young women about empowering themselves and what that means. You know what I mean? And the beauty of just being a woman, especially a Black woman growing up in today's society. We speak about, the less fortunate and what they have to endure, especially now through COVID, and how we can be a major part in just giving a little bit of ourselves to the bigger stem of things, and just wanting to pour our hearts out. So when I was given this award, I was just like, for what? You know what I mean? Like,
you understand a lot of amazing things that you do. I totally see why.
It was so weird. Like, you're so used to, and I always say, I'm so used to this doing this stuff naturally that when somebody wants to do something for me, I'm always like, no, wait, it's not about me. You know what I mean? And that even took a lot of time because, to be honest, a lot of times you can get cocky in doing this. You know what I mean? And when I first started back in 2010, man, the high horse that I was on was like real huge. You know what I mean? Because now people are noticing you. You know what I mean? And now you don't know what to do with that. But I didn't realize then that there was a bunch of insecurities that I had to get over. You know what I mean? Those hurdles and that pedestal that I had myself on. I had to be knocked down to the lowest of the low to realize that this life is more than my own,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad that you were able to kind of like get knocked down so you can be back to humbling yourself. You know, in the industry, a lot of people, they're just not humble. And it's just incredible because you'll have all these opportunities and then one day they'll be gone. Case in point, COVID,
Oh, yeah.
Employed, unemployed, real fast. Stay humble.
Not for real.
But yes, I'm so happy that I got to speak with you today. Can you please tell all of our viewers who are watching where we can watch your show and also share your social media handles?
Yes. So my shows are on all my platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. All Courtney's Corner or Courtney's Talks Official. You can do that. We air every Wednesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. and 9 on Instagram. And we literally just had our mid-season finale. So if you missed that, thank you. If you missed it, please go back and watch last night's episode. It was a true gem dropper. Just speaking with a young lady who was incarcerated back in the 60s, and she got out in the 90s and had to start her life over again. And she now owns a crystal eyewear fashion company, which is like world renowned, and how they were able to get from there to here. So that was a great ending to the finale for me. And yeah, I look forward to coming back after the holidays.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being incredible. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for tuning into Pop Using the Talk Show. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye. Mm-hmm.